My name's Mark Palfrey. I'm CW London Divisional Representative. What I would like to do is give you an insight into a colleague of mine, dear friend, Barry Nelson, and his current fight with COVID.
Hi, my name's Ian Pointer. I'm the ADR for Nottingham, and I'm here to talk about my dance with COVID. It's hard to really put into words how I felt. I would describe it as man flu. I had no temperature. I had no loss of smell. It wasn't until 2:30 in the morning when I felt like as if somebody was sitting on my chest and I couldn't grasp my breath. It kind of gurgled when you breathe, that phlegmy sound, and I knew that something wasn't right. If I'd been living by myself and didn't have anybody to phone for the ambulance, who knows, I might not be here.
On January the 19th, Barry's health seriously deteriorated and he was taken to hospital suffering from acute breathing problems resulting from COVID-19. He was put into an induced coma. He was put on a ventilator.
For those of you who don't understand what an induced coma is, it is not sitting there with a mask over your face. It is a very intrusive procedure, and the reason you're in a coma is because literally your body would not cope with being force-fed oxygen in the way they do it. I believe the first thing to fail on me was my kidneys. My kidneys failed and they had to put me on dialysis. That was the first bad news Paula got, and then I contracted sepsis because of the dialysis. So then we had to battle with the sepsis. My lung functionality began to peak in and out, which was the next problem that we had. My heart arrhythmia was up and down, and today I still have a slight heart abnormality.
Barry was in the intensive care unit for over 100 days, and during that time there were a number of occasions where it didn't look like he was going to survive. His wife sent me some images of Barry in his bed. He looked fragile, seriously ill, and did not resemble the Barry that I have known for over 40 years.
I feel for my partner, Paula, because once or twice she was told that was it, I wasn't coming back out of it. But being a union rep, I'm made of strong stuff. We fight, we don't give in. One night, while one of the nurses was sat holding my hand and talking to me, because you have to remember, back then nobody's allowed in hospitals, not even your family. She squeezed my hand and I squeezed her hand back, and that was, like I say, the light bulb moment that brought me back here today. Eternally grateful to all the staff of the NHS.
Since the day that Barry entered hospital, Julie, Barry's wife, has been at his bedside, and she will vouch for the hard work and dedication of all the NHS workers that have looked after Barry and have basically kept him alive during this time.
It was my 60th birthday while I was in hospital, and I could hear this squeaking, and I kind of woke with one eye to see two nurses putting balloons all over my bed for me and a happy birthday banner. Kind of a surreal moment. They went over and above what they needed to. Then eventually the doctors say to you that you are clear of COVID, you've won the battle, and you should feel better, but you don't. Nothing's changed. You still feel bad. You still ache. You're still out of breath. You still can't do the things you want to do. That is the reality of long COVID. You might have got rid of the virus, but you haven't got rid of the illness itself, because it'll drag you back.
Anyone who knows Barry Nelson knows that Barry is a fighter. But the facts are that Barry wouldn't have got as far as he has without the NHS.
I think we should remember these people that helped us through our toughest times. I can never repay the NHS in my lifetime. In my lifetimes, I could never repay the NHS for what they've done for me. Think about how good this public service is. think of what it means, and you'll never probably really appreciate the NHS until you actually have to use it.
In the CWU, we refer to ourselves as a family, and I can definitely vouch for that regarding the way that the union across London, across the UK, have rallied in supporting Barry and his family during their crisis fighting COVID.
I have gone back and read on Facebook and Twitter and all my colleagues at work, all the statements and the vignettes they sent me. It's quite humbling to think that many people kind of were worried about me, and forever grateful for that support.
We've lost members, not just in London, but across the UK. Over the last 16 months, we've probably seen the most challenging times, probably since the Second World War, for postal workers, but also for the country as a whole.
My name is Cwu. I work for BT. It's been 3 years. I'm taking 999 calls throughout the pandemic as well. Sometime in a one shift, we take 500, 600 calls. Depends how busy we are. For example, now it's a summertime, it's really busy. And especially they lifted the restrictions, so we are getting busier and busier. So this pandemic has changed a lot, the way we take 999 calls. When there was a first wave of COVID, we were extremely busy. Our target is to connect to the ambulance service or police or fire within 9 seconds, but it was around 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It was really busy. No one can replace 999 service, the way we answer the phone calls, especially not any robots or anything else. It has to be done by someone, a human being. BT and the union, they always make sure all the colleagues taking 999 call, they are feeling safe in the center. Stressful, but yeah, I love my job.
COVID has been a life-changing experience for all of us. In our own union, we've lost friends, we've lost colleagues, and a lot of people have lost some of their loved ones. And as we continue to grapple with the long-term health, well-being and economic outcomes of this pandemic, I believe it's the right time now to focus on how we build a better post-COVID future. The good news is that the foundation for what that future really needs to look like has already been laid. It's in the stories that you've seen from our members in this film. Their incredible courage, their incredible spirit, and the moving way that they talk about how others have helped them. I think it's also in the work that our members have done throughout this pandemic. In very, very difficult circumstances, you've continued to provide services to others. And of course, it's in the work that all key workers have done, the way that we've understood how much we now rely on each other to build a better life. And it's in the inspirational stories that we've seen from people like Marcus Rashford, who took on the government because he believed that our children should have free meals at school. What I would sum it all up by is saying that it's about how we build collectivism. That's the key to building a better future. And in the coming weeks, the CWU is going to launch a campaign to say thank you to our NHS workers. It's time that we stood by those NHS workers. It's time that we showed them support because they're going to need it more than ever going forward. So let's stand with our NHS workers. Let's stand with building collectivism. I know you're ready to join us, and I know we're going to run a fantastic campaign. I want to say thanks to our NHS.
I want to say thanks to our NHS.
I want to say thanks to our NHS.
I want to say thanks to our NHS.